But first, I want to talk about some breaking news from the world of Grand Theft Auto 6. There have been some big leaks for this game. There was obviously like a big, huge one, 2 years ago at this point. We've seen large swaths of this game if you know where to look. The latest is sort of kind of mundane. It's not like somebody hacked into their servers and stole some stuff. Some animator posted some clips of their work on Vimeo, and it reveals some details of things that have been animated to occur in Grand Theft Auto 6. And one of them is a bicycle. It's somebody using one of those bike rental racks, like those like lift bikes or whatever. Those things. Which it occurred to me, those didn't exist when the last GTA came out, or at least not widely circulated. But people have spotted this already. There's one screenshot, one official screenshot from Rockstar, where if you really, really punch in, you can see a tiny detail of what looks to be one of these things. And now there's this sort of animation that showed up that shows somebody putting one of these rental bicycles in and taking it out of the rack and probably using their phone to pay for it or something. And it's not like a clip from a cutscene. It's just like an animation that gets used in game, either by the player character or by an NPC. And there are a couple others of just, I think, somebody getting in and out of a truck. And it was, somebody posting this for their job reel to be like, here's what I do. It doesn't really reveal a whole lot about GTA, but I do think it's interesting because it confirms that in this highly anticipated game, that the title of which means to steal an automobile, you can in fact also rent a bicycle. Which
That's good.
It's very funny to me. More
player options. I will say on a personal level, but riding a bicycle in Florida sounds like the worst thing. It's just highway and humidity there. I know there's some cities, we've been to them before, but like just the idea, like I was in Orlando for a shoot earlier in the summer, and it was like 97 degrees, and the only way to get anywhere was to get in a car. Like there aren't sidewalks connecting entire swaths of that state. It is like a aggressively pro automobile, which makes it aggressively pro Grand Theft automobile, I guess.
That's a really interesting point, because like that's I think a cool feature to add. I weirdly really like the bikes in GTA. Like I think they're really fun.
They're great.
Yeah, they're like somewhere between driving a car and walking, which is what a bicycle is in real life. So that checks out. They made a ton of sense in 5, like the way they were introduced. You get some, you take a bike ride down to the Santa Monica Pier, basically, and yeah, again, that works. That's like, prime, like Venice Beach in real life is like prime beach cruiser territory. That totally works. Then you've got like the, Mount Chiliad where you can go mountain biking. And that all works. But yeah, Florida is, I haven't spent a ton of time there, but yeah, my understanding is it's not quite as bicycle friendly, but again, any major city has probably got some of that. I was specifically irked in Watch Dogs 2 that there were no bicycles.
That felt weird because San Francisco is extremely pro bicycle. There's like a very big bicycle culture there. I forget the name of it, but there's like it's a big thing that like hundreds of people.
Critical mass.
Critical mass. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I was leaving a Slayer concert one night, and critical mass went by, and those two crowds clashing was one of the funniest things I've ever seen, because it was a bunch of metalheads and then a bunch of guys on bicycles. And they're all just like, yeah, screw you guys. We hate bicycles.
There's definitely like some overlap there with some grimy bicycle dudes. Yeah, no, Watch Dogs 2 is obviously like centered around kind of tech culture. And something that was so odd to me, aside, like, people point out, they're like, there's no dogs in Watch Dogs. That seems like a major omission. And then in Watch Dogs 2, there's all these like stupid vehicles in San Francisco. There's all these like people riding like motorized skateboards and like little robo unicycles and like segways and things like that. And I don't think they had any of that in Watch Dogs. It was basically just cars and motorcycles. And like, I guess I'm relieved that GTA is going to be incorporating bicycles, even if it doesn't make as quite as much sense in what's ostensibly Florida.
Do you remember the cop that would scream at you in Watch Dogs 2? It was like every time you got in a police chase, there was this one policewoman. Oh my God, it was
just Mix was wrong on that.
It was so jarring. I have to do some independent research on this and verify this, but I read a thing recently, speaking of dogs in GTA, that Chopper in GTA 5, remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had this whole like personality thing that was built into a companion app, no pun intended, that had since been delisted. So like there used to be this thing where you could train the dog in game using this companion app, and Rockstar just quietly sort of stopped supporting it. So there's like all this functionality with that dog in the biggest best-selling video game of all time, and most people don't even play the single player anymore, right? So they don't care. Where you could get Chopper to do stuff, or like, you know,
yeah, I remember that. You would throw the ball. It was like a really kind of dumbed down like Nintendogs.
Yeah, and it's just not really a thing anymore, which is really funny because they like, for all of the people accessing that game, millions and millions of people, maybe even a billion. Rockstar at some point was just like, it's not, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. We're not going to update this anymore.
No, that was the whole thing back then. Like that was that period of every game had to have like a companion app. Like I remember like Metal Gear Solid 5, I think had a whole mother-based management mini game thing that would you know, take your thing on the go. But yeah, I mean, it is weird thinking about how long it's been since GTA 5 came out and how much has changed with how we interact with things. One thing that kind of always stuck with me is like back then, you know, 2013 when that game came out, like taxi cabs were the primary way you would pay somebody to drive you someplace. And since then, rideshare culture has completely become just ubiquitous. It's everywhere. I looked it up, and I think Uber was started in like 2009 or so, and it wound up, I think it spread into like New York and LA in 2011, I want to say, but it was like, it wasn't everywhere at that point. Like it was when GTA came out, it was still like fairly like centralized in major cities. And I think Lyft had only barely just started. So it wasn't a thing where you would just say like, oh yeah, they're driving an Uber, call an Uber, whatever. And I'm fascinated to know, like, is that going to be a little mini game side activity in GTA 6? Like, will you be able to just like take your car and go do, and it's, you know, it would be the same functionality as being a taxi driver in GTA 6, what I feel like you've been able to do since like 3, basically. Just sort of like a little.
Can you Grand Theft Auto a Waymo?
That's a really good question.
Like, can you steal a car that's driverless?
I don't know. I feel like they're not going to have Waymos, and by the time GTA 7 comes out, we're going to be like, they better have Waymos, because Waymos are the only way anyone gets anywhere.
Why are there people in these cars?
No, but look, I was thinking about this, and looking back in May, I think Take-Two, the Rockstar parent company, registered a bunch of domain names, and there's always been that thing of like, you know, in GTA, there's like fake websites that are also real websites they'll kind of take you to, and they have these. Here's what they registered, and I feel like a couple of these kind of support my speculation. There's whatup.app, which I'm guessing is their sort of version of WhatsApp. There's rideme.app, which is ride spelled with a Y, so I feel like that's going to be their equivalent of like Lyft, which again spells that with a Y. And then there's buckme.app, which I think is probably going to be their like you know, Venmo or whatever, to be able to send money.
Oh, that's not where my brain went.
No,
sure.
Well, that's not exactly. It could go either way, honestly. You know, it's Rockstar, but I think it's more likely they're just like, haha, we put a puerile joke in the name of this product or business. There's leonidagov.org, which is going to be like the state website. There's ryanandbradley.com. I don't know what that is. There's hookersgalore.com, which, if I had to guess, the obvious joke is
fishing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fishing. Yeah, I think the obvious joke is prostitution, but it's really going to be fish stuff, because I feel like that's more common in Florida. Then there's wipeoutcornskin.com. I don't have any idea what that is. I don't know what that is. And then the best one, which I'm dying to know about, is myboyhasaCreepyCorndog.com. I don't know what a creepy corn dog is.
I don't either. I mean, a regular corn dog's sort of creepy.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be like their Labubu, or it's going to be some collectible thing that does. It's just weird. I could be totally off there. I'm sure there's probably also like data miners who've spent the last 8 months picking this apart and being like, here's what it is, here's what's going to be. But yeah. Anyway, that's we'll find out at some point when GTA 6 eventually comes out next year.
Next year, we hope.
I don't know. I guess I'm sort of like, you get bicycles. That's cool. It's nice to get some little details. I wish they would be a little bit more forthcoming with info about this game. I think as we get closer, they're gonna do the big, here's the gameplay overview, here's all the systems, and then it's gonna be radio silence for a while. But I love it when they would just give out a few screenshots. And that was just like pick them.
That was a golden era. Yeah, we would just get a couple of stills, basically, and they were
JPEGs.
Yeah, just some JPEGs.
Send us a nice JPEG.
Mail me a bitmap. No,
Yeah.
they would send us like 3 pictures, and it would be like a license plate and a shark and a hat, and you'd be like, we're eating good. This is nothing like it
I'm
in the
sorry,
world.
but getting a screenshot from GTA 5 that had a shark in it, we were all like, there's a shark!
The best.
There's sharks in this game! It's quite crazy!
Yeah, it was the best. I remember like we got at one point IGN got like, I think it was like an exclusive shot, and it was just like a slightly different angle of that, and we were all just like, still counts, yeah, put points on the board. Like we were so happy about it. And it's, I get it. It's like it's been so long waiting for this game that we're just kind of digging around for scraps. I saw like, did you see the AI generated like gameplay videos that people are making now that like they were passing them off as actual leaks, and they weren't? And people put together pretty quickly that, like, I feel like you and I have been covering this industry for so long that we've seen, ever since we were kids too, just watching like pre-release leaks, and there were photoshops, and people would take like this potato camera still of like a monitor that had a blurry image on it diagonally or something like that, right? We even recently, it was just like some guy was on a mountain and he just took a picture of like 2 people in the Zelda movie, and then 2 days later Nintendo was like, here's official pictures, get off of our mountain, stop taking pictures of us. And so now people, the game has changed like it always does, and people are making pretty credible looking GTA 6 gameplay reveals, and they're fake. But at the same time, we're getting real leaks happening, and the occasional drip feed of actual official releases. And so, yeah, it's crazy out there, as it always is. So
it's always been crazy.
Stay sane.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for watching this clip from Beyond, IGN's weekly PlayStation show. You can find the full episode over on youtube.com/IGN Games. And don't forget, new episodes of Beyond drop every Wednesday on IGN.com, the IGN Games YouTube, and all your favorite podcast platforms. Thanks again for watching, and as always, Beyond.